let me take one further step back and just give you a description of what I think is important to watch in Asia, in this part of Asia, in the future. There's a lot of publicity about military aspects, China's increase in its defense budget, cyber warfare, airplanes buzzing each other in the Senkaku, ships shouldering one another, reefs being built in the South China Sea. So it seems that, there seems to be a lot of alarming accounts in your papers that conflict is possible, escalation from some incident could plunge this area into a war. I don't think so. I think the military situation in this part of the world is in fact quite stable and likely to remain so. The advantage that this part of the world has, that is by and large the territorial issues, with a couple of exceptions, have to do with islands, and it's hard to change the status quo of an island without a major military operation, one in which the aggressor has to achieve sea control and air control and keep it for a good long time. There are enough situations in Asia that we see, for example, in Eastern Europe, or the Middle East, in which land borders between countries seem to cut across tribal boundaries or ethnic boundaries or religious boundaries, and this whole business of sort of proxy guerrilla partisan influence conflicts goes on across them. This part of the world is pretty well divided up, and so military aggression by North Korea, for example, against South Korea is highly unlikely, because the North Koreans would lose, and they know they would lose, and that tends to put a lid upon the sorts of adventurism that they can pursue. In the Chinese irredentist areas that they claim, with Taiwan and the Senkakus, the chances of China being able successfully to realize its ambitions by military force are very, very small. It would run a very high risk in conducting those operations. It knows it would. It would run high political risk if it did not succeed militarily, which it probably would not. We can talk about the South China Sea, which is really a non-military area of confrontation now. The confrontation is taking place at the level of administrative warfare, declaring areas, declaring that your fishing regulations cover the entire sea, sending drilling rigs, sending dredging rigs into different parts of the world, but it's really being kept below the military level, and no country, not China, not anyone else, wants to escalate it to military confrontation. So as I look at the military landscape in this part of the world, I don't see a real danger of conflict arising.